I think my mom instilled just a hard work ethic in me. She's a
Absolutely.
single mother. Parents got divorced when I was 8. She raised like 3 kids and on a teacher's salary, just really good financially the savvy. She gave me the really, really good work ethic and focus. If you
A
work hard,
blueprint,
you can
right?
really
Like,
accomplish whatever. So
yeah, a good example, where you get to see hard work pay off and what it does for people.
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Your Peak Life podcast. Today, I have a special guest, a prior shipmate of mine, top level, high performing individual. If I'm not mistaken, you also are heavily involved in active duty passive income as an originator. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Tim. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, tell the viewers and the listeners a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
yeah, Mike, thanks, man. I appreciate this. Been following you, super inspiring what you're doing, and I love all the value you're bringing and all the people that you've helped along the way. So just been excited about this conversation here, and looking forward to delivering whatever we can to anybody who chooses to listen. So yeah, I name is Tim Kelley. I grew up right outside of Chicago, a northwest suburb outside the city of Chicago, man, and I was a college dropout. I went to college right after high school. Just didn't work out for me. I wasn't taking it seriously. I just didn't think it was the
Yeah.
right fit, and I dropped out. Was working a couple different jobs after that, and then I ended up joining the Navy when I was 21. That's where Mike and I connected. We were on the USS Harry S. Truman together. Man, the
A lifetime ago, right? That's
yeah.
crazy, man. I think I was 17 when you met me, 17, 18 years old. So,
Dude, yeah. So, yeah, I was in the Navy from, that joined in 05, '06 was on the Truman from '06 to '09. The stayed in, based out of Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, was at FRC Norfolk, just a shore duty, working doing aviation maintenance, and then was on the USS Baton, still out of Norfolk, made chief on that ship, and then transferred to Pensacola, Florida, where I was water survival instructor, and then I ended up teaching pilot students. I was a pilot instructor, teaching them about engine systems and ethics and water survival.
I love it.
And then I ended up getting out because I was on a long deployment in 2014, and I just had a curiosity of wealth building and how do people build financial freedom and create passive income. And I just saw a pattern of real estate investing specifically, and
Right.
I got off that deployment in 2014, immersed myself in real estate education in 2015, figured out, all the different ways people make money and build wealth in real estate,
Right.
holding assets and everything like that. And then, I quickly chose to focus on large commercial and multifamily apartment complexes, mobile home
Yeah.
parks, self-storage, and that's what I focused on. Then that was in 2016, early 2016. I got orders to Pensacola, which was in 2017. And as soon as I got orders, man, I started networking with people in the Pensacola area. I was, again, still active
Right.
duty at this point. I was networking with people and who were focused on commercial multifamily. And the minute I got to Pensacola, closed on a fourplex, closed
Hmm.
on an apartment complex, closed on a triplex, closed on
You
a
had the bug.
yeah, I got the real estate bug, man. I was just like laser focused, still active duty. And then I was fortunate enough to be featured on the Bigger Pockets podcast back in 2018. And that really got me and launched me into now the co-owner of the active duty passive income
Yeah.
platform to help create where we're really helping military members and their families create wealth and financial freedom, doing everything we're doing, man. And
Absolutely.
yeah, now I reside just north of Tampa, Florida. I'm in Newport Richey, Florida. I moved here last year.
Yeah.
Loving it, loving this area, and really dialed into the active duty passive income,
Yeah.
focused on investing. And then I'm a certified high performance coach, man. Just like yourself, I love getting, one on one with individuals looking to level up. So,
Yeah. Well, I want to revisit back to like a little bit of our history and how, like, one, we both made chief. If I'm not mistaken, you made chief first time up.
no, it wasn't my first time up. It was like my 9-year mark. I think I was up I think it was my second time up.
That's still quick, man. Like 9 years is quick, you know?
Yeah.
And I say that to say the level of work, commitment, determination to get to that point.
Mhm.
It's such a quick fashion. But even before that, we were undesignated, or I was undesignated airman. You were on the SAR crew back when I was like emergency reclamation team. And, so the high performance piece and the drive and the motivation, it's just always been there. Can you talk about that? Maybe where that comes from for you?
Man, I wish I knew. Like, I think it's because I just always had a desire for personal and professional development because,
Yeah.
the minute I started reading books, I realized, wow, there's like really good information that you could learn just from reading a book that you could
Close
directly
that gap.
apply and instantaneously improve your life. And so I think I started like in the Navy, like they give you plenty of opportunities to grow, to take advantage of growth
For sure.
and personal and professional development.
Yeah.
And on that deployment in 2014, I mean, I cranked out my bachelor's degree while I was afloat, like literally
Yeah,
just get
that's
my
wild.
degree because the Navy paid for it. And I was like, I'm working on stuff anyway. I'm learning, I'm reading. I might as well just get my degree. And that's
No
when I
doubt.
started reading a bunch of books and like the aha moments were coming. And dude, I don't know where the desire came from. It's because, I think my mom instilled just a hard work ethic in me. She's a
Absolutely.
single mother. Parents got divorced when I was 8. She raised like 3 kids and on a teacher's salary, just really good financially, the savvy. And so like she gave me the really, really good work ethic and focus. If you
A
work hard,
blueprint,
you can
right?
really
Like,
accomplish whatever. So
yeah, a good example, where you get to see hard work pay off and what it does for people. So I
yeah.
just like even me for now, yeah, I'm a certified coach, I'm a certified public speaker, all that. But what I really am is just somebody that helps other people. Like that's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, man.
Um, so I just wanted to kind of touch on that so people know like it's a long obedience in the same direction. That's what my coach Michael Burke calls it. And this isn't new. I kind of go off of philosophy of like this is one of those arenas where like you have it or you don't. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to push other people to the next level and if you're going to guide people in their life, you need to ensure that you're qualified to do so, right? Like what have you been through? What gives you the capacity to teach me about investing in real estate? Well, you just told me, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's cool part is our stories are very parallel, right? We were both chiefs. We both got out. We both got into real estate. You're on the investing side. I'm on the residential resale and training agent side. So I would love to see something in the future where maybe we get together and we take your knowledge and mine and we put it in a room full of veterans, right? And we bring some other people in. And my goal is to do the first like huge real estate conference in Virginia Beach. And I would hope to bring you along on that ride. But you said something about reading books. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't you just publish a book?
Yeah, man. When I first joined the active duty passive income platform that first year, I co-authored Military House Hacking. So that's a best-selling book. That
Where
was
can
on
people find that?
Amazon. And then
Amazon, okay.
yeah, I wrote a couple books that turned into just simple free education. One, the Blueprint to
Yeah.
Financial Success, an all-in-one credit guide, and then a home buyer's guide, and then a 13-week journal. This one right here, kind of just like for goal planning to hold you
Yeah.
accountable to your goals and all that. And then I recently published How to Master Your Psychology.
That's the one I saw.
This one here, and I'm working on another one right now. I think it's like I learned so much from books, and I've been able to accomplish so much. A lot of strong, hard lessons learned, of course, that I have to just put it in a book and share it. If not for my future kids, for people who are looking to level up, because I just
Absolutely.
pay it forward. So
For sure. So,
yeah,
and I
man.
found that funny
Obviously, you
because
recently released the book too,
yeah,
man.
so it's just crazy, man. A couple guys from the Midwest that served together 15, 20 years ago, both now in real estate, both now speaking, both now published authors. And I got the call yesterday. This would be the first like public announcement of it. My book did just hit the Amazon bestseller. So I
Yeah,
thought that was pretty cool. But I told my coach,
congrats.
I was like, I need Wall Street Journal or New York Times, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so that's the big picture. But the idea here really is just that you can do whatever you want to do with your life. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're both great examples of that. So, what does 5 years from now look like for Tim Kelley, man?
yeah. I want to just back up, and I can't wait to answer that question because I recently reviewed what's called my vivid vision, where I just painted it all out.
Yeah.
And so, but like for the people, there is. I want to make it very, very clear that regardless of where you're at right now, it's not like a special thing that we have, a special ambition. A lot of it boils down to having the faith that you can. And the best thing you could do is intentionally put yourself in a room full of people who actually are doing those things and will help
Yes,
you believe that you
bro.
also can do it too. Most
Yeah.
people that we surround ourselves with in the W2 world, of course, in the military, a lot of people are just showing up, doing the minimum and leaving. And that is that is just sheep mentality. And wherever they're going, go the opposite direction, because that's where you're going to find those individuals who are the peak performers, who are willing to help you succeed. Never anybody who is more successful than you is going to crap on you or poo-poo on you if you're trying to reach up and ask them for help, because
They're going to bring you.
they
Absolutely.
had hired coaches, they had people help them, and
For sure.
they're gonna grab you and help you. All you got to do is ask and have that belief, have that faith that you can, because you can. It doesn't matter where you came
Absolutely.
from. Some of
So, yeah,
the best
dude.
stories are the rags to riches stories, man. They had no resources, no education, they came from the slums, and all of a sudden they just grinded it out and put themselves in those rooms and surrounded themselves with the people that
100%.
gave them that belief that they can, because you can.
100%, bro.
You're the
That's
only one
been
that's going to stop you, straight up.
yeah, you
So,
versus you. Eric Thomas, he just wrote the book on that, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's really up to you, man. And that's what's so great about this. Literally, my book is about that, right? I came up with these principles of how I've conquered the summit of life personally. But if you really look at it, it's congruent with my training program, it's congruent with my coaching program. Everything kind of weaves together. But I wouldn't have known that or published my first book in that fashion if I didn't hire a coach,
yeah,
right?
man.
Coach Michael Burt out of Nashville, Tennessee is the reason that I'm a published best-selling author right now. I did it in 6 months.
Yeah,
Like you can do it too. My companies, I wouldn't have 7 successful franchises without a business mastery coach, right?
mhm.
So I hired coaches to close. Really, I mean, you add them together, it's like a 75-year gap in 2 different arenas. So people are, how are you doing that? Well, I spent the money, which made me invest in myself, which made me do the work. And once you execute on that stuff and you see the results that it has, you just want to keep going, or at least I do. I mean,
Yeah. That's the
so
reason why I became a coach, was because I hired coaches. I saw profound results
dude,
from it.
it's so different, man.
Yeah,
You don't know what you don't know, right? And if you could
yeah,
be coachable, you can go to very different places for sure.
yeah. But
Um,
unfortunately, most people don't see the value in paying somebody for their one-on-one time who's legitimately willing to help you and legitimately cares about you. But if you could look up beyond that and you see that you're investing in yourself,
dude,
you will get 1,000-fold return on your investment and return on your time invested if
a
you see
hundred
the
percent.
value. Because yeah, it
I'll
worked
give
for
you one
me.
example. Yeah. I'll give yourself and the viewers one example. My coach on the business mastery side for the real estate firms, I pay $1,500 a month for that, right? So it's 18 grand a year. Earlier this year, I made one change in my business with one message based on her training that added $350,000 in profit to my bottom line.
Dude, perfect testimony.
What?
Yeah, I love it, man.
But you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know how to package it. I didn't know how to deliver it. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure if it was the right move. And it turned out that everything was okay,
yeah. Good
So,
for you,
but I
man.
wouldn't have done that if I didn't have the sounding board that I talk to every Friday morning, right?
Yeah,
So, even somebody that performs at a level that yourself or that I do, we still need coaches.
yeah. Of course,
What's
man.
next for me? I gotta find out, right?
Yeah.
So,
You got to be coachable, and you got to be humble enough to ask for help, man. And
absolutely.
a lot of people can't get past that. Yeah. So I know you asked me 5 years, what does my life look like?
Yes, sir.
I had a really rough last 18 to 20-ish months, man. It was a very dark time for me. I went through a horrible, ugly divorce with my ex for
Yeah,
13 years, and did never thought I would be in this position. I got
Tim.
massively
This is
kicked in the
crazy, bro.
got
You know, I
massively.
went I
Yeah,
went through a divorce too after
yeah.
almost 14 years. It's so parallel, it's insane.
This
So
is,
please continue.
and I'm sharing this with you because, man, I got, building a lot of assets, regardless of what I had when we started, when we first got married. I basically had a single family home in Virginia Beach that turned
Right.
into my very first house hack and a live and flip. And that was the only asset that I really had. And I had some savings bonds from the family, but everything that I had built was when we were married. So all the assets were marital assets.
Right.
And it was just, so I took a huge financial hit about a year ago when the
Yeah.
divorce finalized. And so I have been in recovery mode, but through that process, it was the darkest time of my life. Never thought life would be that hard. Never thought I would be in a place that dark.
Yeah.
Depression is real. Anxiety is real. Suicidal
Absolutely.
tendencies real. Like,
Very real.
I'm not saying like that is part of the process. For those of you who are listening, engaging, there are seasons, there are peaks and valleys of life. If you are striving for greatness, it is not a straight line. You got to endure those peaks and valleys and continue to push forward. And I say that because during the darkest times, the brightest stars in your life will shine the brightest.
Ooh,
And
I
the
love that one.
people that are actually there and care about you, you're like your legitimate mastermind buddies, accountability buddies, friends, family, they're going to be the ones to check on you. They're going to be the ones to actually to engage with you and to make sure that you're
Absolutely.
doing okay. And that gave me so much clarity. It was unbelievable that all the people that I thought I was tight with, that I thought I could rely on, were
Yep.
like they didn't show up during my darkest time. And
Yep.
so now I not only do I value those friendships even more, but I've created even stronger friendships through that process. And so
Absolutely.
for me, for the next 5 years, I want more than anything to be, a family man, a provider, a protector, a presider with a family, 3 to 4 kids. Don't
Yep.
know if that's going to happen in 5 years, but at least one, maybe two, preparing to homeschool them, preparing to just deliver the best life lessons that I have for them, probably based out of Florida, but traveling north to Chicago and elsewhere during the hottest seasons, like right now, where it's like
Yeah.
consistently in the 90s during hurricane season and stuff like that. But having a self-sustaining, potentially a homestead. I know the woman that I'm with
Okay.
right now, I can see her as my wife. She really wants to homeschool. She really wants to nurture my kids. And I'm looking forward to that. But ADPI has grown significantly at that point. We've impacted millions of military families at that point to achieve financial freedom.
Yeah.
And I've just mainly purposely investing as a limited partner or passive investor in large syndication deals, and startups and things like that I'm really excited about. And of course, health and wellness are very important for me. I'm
Yeah.
just maintaining that and demonstrating the best example for my kids.
I love it. I love all that, man. Um, I have a question here for you. What's been the biggest game changer for you in business? Like you've obviously been in the investing realm now for nearly a decade, right? Or a decade at this point.
Mm.
At what point, I know you got out, I know you started reading books, but there had to be one thing that was just like, this is what I'm going to do.
I could think of a couple, but I'll start with one. Like the aha moment for me was when I got the real estate bug on that deployment in 2014 and I
Yeah.
got off that ship. I'll never forget. I was actually on convalescent leave for 30 days. I had a reconstructive surgery on my shoulder. So I had 30 days off of paid
Gotcha.
leave, and I was in a strange mindset because for the first like week, man, I feel like I'm high on, opiates doing the painkillers that they gave me. And so
Yeah.
these narcotics, right? Like
Yeah.
hydrocodone or whatever. And
What'd
so,
you what'd you pull on the shoulder, if you don't mind me asking?
yeah, I've had reconstructive surgery on both my shoulders, man, from dislocations. I've dislocated multiple,
Cuffs,
multiple
labrums,
times.
the whole. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So both during Navy activities. One was during softball, intramural softball, and one was during a football game that I've just they've repeatedly dislocated. Every time you dislocate it, it's just more susceptible. So they
Right.
both needed to be repaired. But
Wow.
anyway, I was on convalescent leave in 2015, and that's when I literally just took that time. I was up like 12 hours a day, literally just reading, taking notes because I was so dialed in and I knew real estate will change my financial future. And so
Absolutely.
I knew education was the first step, and immersing yourself in like knowledge so you could speak the language so people in the industry will take you seriously. And
Absolutely.
so that aha moment was, man, I'm actually learning a lot and I could see the vision, that clarity. And that's when I realized I did not have to start like buying a bunch of single family homes and then get maybe twos and fours and eights. I
Right.
could
You could go
actually
straight to the
literally
big dog. Yeah.
partner on commercial deals. And since I was active duty, I'd rather be part of a team and have like 20, 30% ownership of like a multi-million dollar property and do some of the work than
Yeah.
own 100% of like $100, $200, $300,000 property and do all the work. It just
Yeah. No
made more
doubt.
sense for me. And I'm glad I went that route. And so that was probably the epiphany moment for me, like dialing in the focus, whether you do focus on single family or flipping or
Yeah.
wholesaling or creative finance or being an agent, like choosing one specific niche and developing mastery in that one specific thing was
Percent.
probably the aha moment for me, because that's where I got the most amount of traction, because I put that time in to learn and surround myself with others. And then I obviously after that, I hired coaches that really
Yeah.
helped me get things organized, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my next question is for a high performer like yourself, somebody that invests, somebody that stays in shape, somebody that syndicates deals, somebody that probably deals with a lot of stuff we're not even talking about here. Because if you own a lot of property, there are things you deal with that people wouldn't even imagine. Yeah. So I don't know if you have like a property management company or whatever the case is. You have a lot of moving parts. So I'm curious, what's the typical day, week, month look like for yourself being an elite performer in that space?
Yeah, man. I think the most important thing is making sure that I'm taking time before I go to bed. I am visualizing and looking at my day ahead. I'm looking at my calendar. I'm seeing exactly what I need to do. It's already laid out and time blocked. It's
Yeah.
already organized. Because if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen. I'm feeling like you're
Yep.
the same way, bro. Like,
100%, bro.
yeah.
100%.
So the night before, I'm looking at, okay, what do I need to focus on? What am I doing tomorrow? And I will
Yep.
literally visualize succeeding through those things, visualizing just crushing all that, and then coming up with, if something were to trip me up during the day, what is it going to be? And how am I going
Yeah.
to handle that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like one thing. And then so when I wake up and my feet hit the ground, like I'm already kind of prepared. And sometimes my dreams turn into like even creative thinking
Yeah.
through problem solving. It's crazy. And I love that. And then so I'm waking up, I'm fired up, and then every day there's something that I'm doing for physical fitness and routine,
Yep.
whether it's a workout. And then after that workout, I mean, I'm pushing myself. The very first thing I'm doing, even before that workout, I'm journaling. I'm reviewing what I need to do, and I'm journaling. I have a high performance journal and planner that I have that I fill out in the morning, and then at night before I even go to bed and visualize the next day. And then
Love
I
it.
crank out my workout. And when you're crushing through and you're getting uncomfortable first thing in the morning, like everything else during the day gets like easier and
Easy.
easier for you, dude.
Yeah. I
And
tell
so
everybody that.
it's just like the routine, and then you build these certain high performance habits that just completely are transformative. Because once they're habits, like you don't even think about them, it's ritual.
Yeah.
But once that workout is done, I already know, I'm already visualizing. After my workout, I even visualize again, because I will take at least 10 minutes to go through a meditation where I'm thinking through. For the first 2.5 minutes, I'm kind of just doing a body scan, feeling it, whatever comes up. Second 5 minutes is my gratitude, or second 2.5 minutes is my gratitude. What am I thankful for? Third 2.5 minutes is my visualization. I re-visualize going through what
Yeah.
I've already did that night before and going through what I am going to be working through. And if anything is going to trip me up, how am I going to solve that? And then fourth, I kind of just let my thoughts run wild, and like the best creative problem solving comes up during that time. And that's 10 minutes. And I'm doing like 4 different blocks within that 10 minutes post workout. And then I take a freezing cold shower. I don't have a cold plunge at my place currently right now, but I take a freezing cold shower. That only lasts a couple minutes because it's quick, and I just get in and
Yeah.
out. That completely revitalizes me. And then I'll do usually intermittent fast. And I won't really eat anything until about noon. I'll just do my protein shake. And
Mine's 11 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of walking you through like that's like literally my daily
Every day,
routine during the
bro.
week,
Yeah,
dude. And having
absolutely.
that is like just gets you into this flow state. And for me, it gets me into a flow state that I could definitely, if I don't do those things, I can't tap into my flow state and I can't get things done and add the right
Yeah,
amount of value to people.
100%. So I asked you that because a lot of people ask me, how do you run all these real estate firms and a title company and an insurance company, and you're still a speaker and an author and you do all these things? And I just tell people I'm highly efficient. I get up before you. I do things before you wake up that you're probably not even thinking about. And it's the same as you. I get up, I go to the gym, I have positive affirmations, I have my me time before I cater to my kids or the world or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I love that you explicitly stated that you have 10 minutes and it's post workout. And that's important because your mind is the most clear at that point in time. So
Exactly.
I think it's great that you do it then. I might even switch up because I do mine before, right? I get up at 4, I do my morning affirmations, drink coffee, pound some water before I head to the gym. But in that time, I'm doing my positive affirmation and kind of checking my calendar and stuff.
Yeah.
I might be more clear post gym on that,
Give it a shot, man. Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's why you do things like this, right? Because as I'm thinking about it, I might be more clear at that moment, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a simple thing. I mean, I would consider myself a high performer, but what if I can go to another level,
There's
right?
always another
So,
level, dude. Always
bro,
another
there's so
level.
many, right?
Yeah.
So, um,
And it's really about saying no. That's
yeah.
that's what
So
it's
it's
all
called
about.
opportunity confusion is what one of my
Yeah.
coaches calls it, right?
Yeah.
So the next question that I have for you, man, is the name of the podcast is Your Peak Life. We talked about your vision in 5 years, but I want to know what's your peak life? Like, at what moment in your mind are you operating just at the apex of your potential? Like you just know that this is where you belong and you want to stay there till you go, kind of thing. Like, what's your dream life, your peak life look like?
Yeah. I mean, this is a question that I probably would have answered a little differently a year ago, 2 years ago for
No
sure.
doubt, you've been through a
I'll
lot.
probably answer differently 6 months from now and a year from now. But as
Absolutely.
of right now, I feel like I'm in that peak life because of the amount of momentum that I have, and I'm learning. You know, something that definitely kept me in the dark, going through the divorce and having so much just guilt and shame and regret and like all these different
Been there,
thoughts.
man. I've
Dude,
been there.
yeah, was a book called The Gap and the Gain. Have you read that?
I have actually.
Yeah.
That's
It
why I
was so
always refer to
timely
my
for me
coaching as
because
closing the gap.
so many successful people are measuring themselves against their future self or others. And that is terrifyingly destructive.
It's
And
just
so,
wrong.
but they're
Don't do
still
it.
somehow able to do it, right?
Yeah,
That is gap thinking. If you're measuring yourself against somebody else or who you think you should be or where you think you should be in the future, if you're measuring yourself right now, you're going to feel like you're behind. And
right.
that's gap thinking. You're measuring yourself in the gap. And your gain thinking, you'll be measuring yourself in the gain only if you measure yourself today against who you were yesterday, who you were 6 months ago, who you were 12 months ago. That's
Yeah.
gain thinking because you're going
Yep.
to actually see and feel tangible progress because that's all that
Absolutely.
freaking really matters, man. Like comparing
100%.
yourself to anybody else, even yourself, where you think you should be destructive, right? But
Facts.
measure it all. Never ever measure yourself against anybody else. Measure yourself against who you were yesterday, 6 months ago, 12 months ago. And if you weren't,
Yep.
a completely different person from last year, you probably aren't growing at the speed that you should be. But keep in mind, like, that's why I feel like I'm in my peak life right now because where I was a year ago,
Compared
dude,
to right now. Yeah.
completely night and day. Like I'm on this crazy trajectory and I can't help but just like take people with me and just deliver value. That's why I love being on these podcasts to just share value and inspire people.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Absolutely.
not going to say, oh, my peak life will be like this. One day I'll reach that pinnacle. It's right now I'm in it and I'm
Yeah.
experiencing it and I'm actually appreciating that a lot more having that mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
I love it, man. So the last question really here is the floor is open for you
Yeah.
to ask me any question you may have. We host a lot of people, we interview a lot of people, and I always like to give people an opportunity to ask me a question in return.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. This is gonna be fun. So right now, if you woke up tomorrow with 10 times more courage, what would you do differently?
I feel that I have a remarkable boldness. I've made
Yeah,
a lot of big plays.
clearly.
Um, but I'm on the path right now. I'm actually going to enter into a project to do a biopic about my life story and write another book about it.
Love it.
Um, and if I was as courageous as I am now, 15 or 20 years ago, I would have done it already.
Mhm.
So for me, finishing that project and putting that story out, that requires remarkable boldness. But I needed things to happen. You also look back at like everything happens for a reason, right? Like my exit from the Navy wasn't a traditional one. I went through a nasty divorce. They actually tried to kick me out. I fought for my life for 9 months. I beat the admin set board. I beat my ex-wife, who was a police officer in the city of Virginia Beach, in the courthouse that she worked in before that. Oh, by the way, right? And then I opened these companies, and both my parents died from heroin overdoses. So I just have like my thing is I don't just lead people to mission accomplishment. I do so through extreme adversity. So I just feel like I have a powerful testimony to give people, and I've been sitting on it for too damn long. Um, so that's
If
where I want
anybody
to.
listening to this is coming up with an excuses why you can't accomplish what Mike did, why you can't accomplish what I did, or what you truly want. I mean, Mike right here is a testimony. That's real adversity, that's real darkness. And I mean, one step at a time, he did it, man. He pushed
Yeah.
through. And
So
you
the
know,
it's funny because if you go on like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, like I literally have a moniker or a nickname. It's Broker from the Bottom. I didn't give myself that. Tim Lewis from the USS Harry S. Truman gave me that, and that's because he's from Detroit and he knew how I was raised. Because we didn't even mention that I was a foster kid or an orphan or homeless. Like I had a very rough upbringing, and then everything I earned was they tried to take it from me, right? So I had to fight through that, and then I opened these companies. I had to kick out the original principal broker. I had to battle somebody and pour money into this company while I was a top producer, managing broker, all these things going through my divorce, so it's just been absolutely brutal, but I love it because I'm built for that.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
clearly you are,
um,
man.
they
Yeah.
they didn't know, like, I just remember certain things that were said to me, and I don't need to repeat them or say anybody's names here, but, when you tell a guy like myself that you're going to test my metal, that came from a skipper in front of a room full of Master Chiefs, and they were already hating on me, bro. I'm a 28-year-old chief. I'm making six figures on the side. They were like waiting for the reason. And a phone call sparked that. And I made some mistakes in the process. I said some things I shouldn't have. But in the end, I was strong enough to withstand the storm. And I got my honorable discharge, and my companies are doing well, and my kids are doing well. I've remarried a phenomenal person. She's gorgeous. She's a business owner. Our morals and our vision align. And life is good, man. But it doesn't come for anybody without that back against the wall or that bottom moment. Divorce can get very ugly. I lost a couple properties. I lost a lot of equity. But you just bounce back. Like, what am I going to do? Let my kids see me fail? Not happening. So but the courage piece, man, I want to really put this project together, and I want to give it to the world. Um, and a lot of that came like last summer. We went to bury my father. He died of a heroin overdose, and he didn't raise me, but my sisters had some more time with him than I did. And as I'm older, like when my mother died, I didn't even acknowledge it. And as I became older, it's just like, man, is that my character? Is that really,
Yeah.
does that give an example of who I am and what I'm capable of and how strong I actually am? So when my dad went, I was like, you know what? This is on me. I took care of the ceremony. I drove home. I gave the eulogy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it put me at peace, but it also, I felt like, gave the family a new standard,
Man.
like a quality of man that they've not had. And I also ended up meeting my grandfather last year, who I never met until after my dad died. So it's just a very powerful move. I don't want to say movie, but like, dude, I watch people. I'm in a lot of rooms with high level people now. I was just shoulder to shoulder with Eric Thomas. I was right before that. I met Ed Milet. I would love to meet Inky Johnson one day, and it's just I'm surrounded by these high level people now because I paid to put myself in these rooms. And I got to tell you, when I listen to a story or I read a book, I'm just like, man, my resume is there. You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
that's all,
Incredible
man. I
story.
want to take it to the next level. I want people to see the Antoine Fisher side. I want people to see the hood side because right now all they see is success. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of long nights, a lot of tears, a lot of days I wasn't sure where my next check was going to come from. And now I don't have any of those worries. So
Mhm.
if I can just help somebody like me, Ed Milet says you're most qualified to help the person you used to be. And I just happen to have been a lot of different people. You know what I'm saying? So
Man, yeah, you definitely need to get that story, incredible story, and down and out and shared with people.
Oh,
God
it's
bless you,
it's
man.
coming,
Yeah,
bro. I
God
won't
has
disclose
definitely
the name
blessed
of
you.
it, but I think it's going to be pretty killer. So,
Yeah, not for sure,
um,
dude. For sure.
but that's all I really have, bro. Unless you have anything else for me, I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah,
As soon as we publish the episode, I'll let you know. We'll send you any content from it. And for the people listening, you know, these are two men that served in the military, have been married, have been divorced, have had it all, have lost it all, got it back. So you can too. You know what I'm saying? That's the message that I want to deliver with all of my platforms. There is no excuse, and don't judge a book by its cover. You know what I mean? Anything you want to say to the crowd before we go, Tim?
yeah. I mean, I also my definition of success has radically changed over the years, and this was the other question that I was going to ask you is regarding your relationships. And to me, that is the definition of success, is the quality of one's most meaningful relationships. And so,
I would have to agree a thousand
dude,
percent, man. My
yeah,
wife, my kids, my coaches, my business partners,
yeah,
you got to be high level to play high level. And if you don't have a certain moral code and you don't adhere to certain core values, like I'm just not even going to mess with you, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, man.
Um,
There's a lot of people who have the optic of being successful, but their
they're miserable.
relationships are faltering. Their kids don't
Yep.
even know them or don't even like them.
Yeah.
So
I can't, bro. I can't
yeah,
let
yeah,
that
yeah.
happen.
And that's what I just wanted to kind of put that out is just question whatever you see as success. Um, at first it might be, I want all the money, or I want all the
Yep.
resources, and I want freedom and time. Of course, financial freedom is going to give you that time, give you those options, but
Yep.
don't sacrifice the most important thing, which are those relationships and people that you're surrounded by and that care about,
Absolutely.
that you love and that love you. Don't sacrifice that in order to achieve what you think is successful, because there's no meaning, there's no fulfillment through success if you're not able to share that with the people that matter the most. Um,
Couldn't agree more, man.
but yeah,
I
man, the last thing
wholeheartedly
is,
agree.
if this resonated with you, I'm sure you're going to share my socials or how to connect with me or whatever. But I mean, if
Yep.
this resonated with you, I want to help you. You could just literally shoot me a text message, and I'll give you my cell phone number, and we could just set up a call. It's 847-910-9161. Just text me, let me know you heard me on Mike's podcast, and we'll set up a call, man, and anything I do to help you out.
I love it, Tim. Hey, man, I want to thank you for coming on. But I did want to give one example of success, right? So I'm actually in the middle of teaching one of my peak performance elite sales training classes.
Yeah.
And the other day, my wife called me. I was in the middle of instructing. What do you think I did? I answered the phone, bro. The
Yeah.
class was like, "What is happening?" I was like, "You guys are all going to wait because I need to talk to my wife."
Yeah.
And when you can realize that, when you understand that that moment's more important than whatever I've got to say to this room full of people that I'm going to be with for the rest of the day,
Man.
so let that sink in. I don't,
Yeah.
nothing takes precedence over my wife and my children anymore. And I had to learn that a very hard way. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Me too.
thanks for coming on. Thanks for playing pitch and catch and talking about all the failures and the success. And we can't wait to publish it, man. We really appreciate having you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the story, Mike. It's been a pleasure, dude. Let's stay up, let's stay in touch.